All right.
All right.
So continue continue your story.
All right. So, like I was saying, you stronger than me. Then, you know what I'm saying? Ever getting, you know what I'm saying, by getting married. Because I don't think that I could risk it ever again. You know what I'm saying? I was damn near $100,000 in debt after marriage, you know what I'm saying? My first wife. So, you know what I'm saying? It was hard, you know what I'm saying? You saying short selling homes, cars, everything. I literally right now, I stay right round the corner from the house we had built. All right. So when you tell them when a judge tells a couple you got a short sale, and I don't think a lot of people don't understand about short sales. Short sales is hey, you got 60 to 90 days to sell your home. All right. Now if you're not in a hot market, 60 to 90 days, I'm saying that's a quick. So people already know if you literally being told by Johnny Law 12 one time flatfoots that you have 60 to 90 days to sell a home, you got to sell that home at almost crackhead prices. All right. So you got a brand new home that you have. Probably only spent 75 happy days in that motherfucker. And now it's time to sell that thing. Then you go get your own place, and the person who stays in the home and everything. So now you have 75 happy days in there. So it's now time to sell it. Now you done put to have it built, I'm saying you done put probably about 175, 180. But when a judge tell you that you have 60 to 90 days and it has to be sold, you can't list it at 180. You have to list it for it to move like that. You probably gonna have to list it for about 120.
Is that how much you paid for your house? Oh shoot, dude. You don't even want to know how much I paid for the house we had.
Well, like I said, this here was in 2013, 2014.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that same house right now, I think the last time it sold in 2022, it sold for four something.
Okay. That that makes sense because I'm like, dang, I can get like three houses for for the price I paid for this house we live in.
Yeah. But yeah, it was built. You know what I'm saying? So you was here. You was at Scott when they was you driving down Green Mound and you build this house for $160,000. You
Hmm.
was here. You
Yeah,
seen
that's
that?
when my scooter was just starting to get built up.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what I'm saying? So you have those things and so now you got to sell it for the 120.
Oh.
And so you sell it doing so that then like I'm saying, cars and other stuff. And so then after stuff settles, who gonna pay for this shit?
Well, no, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about because when I got divorced, I I pretty much lost everything because of how the divorce happened. Like
Yeah.
normally, you split stuff 50-50 and all that other stuff. It's a good thing that I didn't have a house, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about that. But, I was just coming back from overseas, got served
That was a
literally
comfort.
like the day that I got off the plane. And because I had went to Turkey, I went with it was one of those where the they had everything furnished, so you only came with like the little stuff. So that's
Yeah.
all I had with me when I went to California. And the judge was like, she keeps everything in her possession and you keep everything in your possession. So I was literally left with like a mattress,
Yeah.
TV, PlayStation, and that was it. I had to go buy a new car, the whole nine yards. And
Yeah.
so Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, I did it again because, I enjoy relationships. Sometimes they could be a headache and, you know, make me pull out my hair even though I ain't got none.
Yeah.
But, it's worth it in some instances. But with that being said, I think that's a good segue into the introduction. Welcome, everybody, to Relationship Talk with Juanito. I am Coach Juan, Coach Robinson, aka Juanito, and I am joined today with Big G. Big G, say what's up to the people.
Hello, people. People, how you doing today? Had to give you one of my stories today.
Hey man, so how you been?
Oh man, today is a good day with this back. But I didn't feel too bad today. But yeah, it's been a struggle for your boy the past week. You know what I'm saying? Been diagnosed with chronic, like I told you last time, chronic. Well, I got a severe case of degenerative disc disease, very arthritic L3 and L4. Going to get spinal biopsy and MRI next week. So
Well,
hopefully we can
hey,
hopefully we can get on the course of feeling better because I have been feeling like crap. But hey, one monkey don't stop no show. No pain don't stop no show. We still get up and grind.
well, I hope everything works out for you. I told you that I have the same diagnosis, but I've had mine since 2004,
Yeah.
2005, something like that. And so it's just kind of been one of those things that I've been living with over years. And for the most part, I knew the kind of triggers that I had that would cause pain.
Yeah.
Now that I'm 44 years old, just getting up in the morning can cause me some pain.
Yes.
And so I'm finding more and more ailments as the days goes on, which is fine. I get paid for it, so it's all
That's
good.
right.
Hey man, so I I dropped the video that's actually going to be coming out tomorrow on the five leadership styles and how they show up in dating and relationships.
Yes.
Being uh, uh, an authoritarian, a diplomatic, laissez-faire, transactional, and transformational leadership styles. So that video is actually going to be dropping tomorrow. But as I was doing it, you know, the reason why I did it is because I had a thought about how typically when you're having conversations with women, right, and you're asking them what do they want in a man, right? One of the typical things that they say is that they want a leader, right? And one day I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, well, do they even know that there are different types of leadership styles? And
Yeah.
certain leadership styles work best for certain people, right? And so you can get into a relationship with somebody who has a laissez-faire leadership style, and you be miserable because that person is kind of easygoing and kind of is like, man, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Not a very good decision maker because they just kind of float through life or whatever. And if that doesn't fit well with your personality, does not mean that they're not a leader. It just means that their leadership style doesn't work necessarily for you. And so I was thinking, another thought that I had was that I believe that there are a lot of misconceptions that women have of men. And so what I wanted to do was kind of get your thoughts on some of the misconceptions. Like we can go back and forth on some of the misconceptions that we believe that women have of men,
Gotcha.
right? And one of the ones that I kind of took some notes. So one of the ones that I wanted to um talk about, and I was kind of having this conversation earlier today, was that I think women believe that men won't men won't change unless they're forced to, right? You know, because there's a belief that you're with somebody and they're moving and shaking and acting a certain kind of way, but then when you leave them, then they get their stuff together and then they become a better person in another relationship. And although some of that could be, you know, maturity and growth, um, a lot of women think that it's because they left. But then I had a different thought. What if it what if it what if it is that men will change when they believe that it's safe to change, right? Um, and that it's worth it. And that safe and worth it part is what I believe is probably key to them changing, right?
Mhm.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Hey, you totally it's that's the answer. You're totally correct. Um, women want women want men to change. Now, the caveat to that is, but they don't want to change. Love me for who I am. You saw me with this. You saw me with this. This is what attracted you to me, but you don't change. But I don't change. But you have to change. And yes, a man is going to change once he realizes, like you said, that safe space for him to change. Because I've seen a lot of men who attempted to change, and that space that he was living in wasn't safe for him, and he regretted that change because it was used against him in the form of embarrassment, in the form of personalizing, bringing everybody into their business and showing them his vulnerabilities and things like that. But when a man truly get with the woman, because she is the master key. The feminine woman is always the master key to unlock potential, to unlock change, to unlock anything that has to do with the man being better. That feminine woman is the key.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point that you hit on, right? Because I think that a lot of women have the misconception that their power is in their vagina,
Oh,
but the reality of it is that it is in their femininity, right? It is in that essence of being a feminine woman that with the right man, right? Because you can't be a feminine woman chasing a bugaboo, a pookie, a ray ray, or whatever, because you guys are gonna clash, and it's just not gonna work, right? But if
not
you
gonna work.
get a semi decent man to a good man to a man that has his self established, that the power of that femininity can unlock different levels of him that other women who don't necessarily operate within that space, they can't unlock that,
Mhm.
which kind of goes back to what I was saying, right? You're in a relationship with a guy and then he ends up leaving and then he gets into a relationship where he's doing better, acting better, being different person is because likely that woman creates a safe space for him to be himself and also she by doing that she proves herself worth him being that being to him operating on a different level. You know, one of the things that I would you when I you kind of touched on it a little bit. You said you talked about vulnerability. A lot of guys, right? I know a lot of women want guys to be vulnerable with them and to express themselves and to have some emotional attachment to them or be able to unlock their emotions in a way where, women feel that men operate with emotional intelligence. But the reality of it is that in order for you to get that from a guy, he has to first feel safe enough to open up to you in a way that allows him to put down his guard, and that he knows, and you have shown to him that if he tells you something that comes from a vulnerable state, that you're not going to um, turn around and use it against him or throw it back in his face when the opportunity suits you. Because oftentimes what happens is when women are losing an argument, or they feel like that the burden of the wrong that they've done is too much, then they typically are looking for daggers and swords to throw, and oftentimes it's those things that that men say in those vulnerable moments that get turned around and thrown against them. And then at that point, once you do that, you have locked that out forever.
Ever.
And unfortunately, when that relationship is done and over with, because it's going to happen, the next woman has to do the work of actually chipping away at those walls and those barriers that he put up.
Yeah, man, it's the the countless times I have a group of partners that I grew up with. Now, it's a group of four of us. You know what I'm saying? We all, you know what I'm saying, successful men. Uh, One of my buddies, he's a six-figure guy who works for UPS. Another one of my guys has a doctorate, working for a prominent school system down south. Another one of my partners, he's just a real hard working, go getter type of guy. He had a couple setbacks, but he's a go getter type of guy. Myself, you know what I'm saying, we all tried to tote the line of 3 out of the 4 waited till we was married before we had kids, and you know what I'm saying, we tried to walk that fine line of hey, we gonna do it right. We all involved in our kids' lives. We're all great dads. Uh, we've all 3 of us been married. One of us been in a long-term relationship, and and I don't, when we always talk, when we talked and communicated, it was about how do we communicate and feel safe. Well, when I was married, I couldn't really, I couldn't open up from how I feel. I couldn't open up. Um, I couldn't express myself too much because if I felt like if I did, it would lead to more because yes, things were thrown up in my face. So why even say anything? Why even let a person know that you hurt him? I had to have a corneal transplant. I called my mama, come take care of me because I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel that this person, even though she, you know what I'm saying, I said I do, and this person here was supposed to be my better half. I just didn't feel that she was gonna be there to take care of me the way I need to take care of, and not throw it up in my face as, oh, when you did it, I did this for you. Well, I never did that to her, but it was like like she was keeping a tally. I did something for you. This is what I did. Damn, you be keeping score. I didn't understand it. I'm like, so then she come in, what did you do? Well, damn, you trying to wait a minute. I like, give me a day or two to ponder these things because I know I have, especially from the jump, but it was like keeping a score, and I just didn't understand that. When you're in a relationship, why do you keep tabs on what you do? Have you experienced something like that?
Yeah, so I will say that in my first marriage I was guilty of keeping tabs on things. Not in a way where it was like every time we did something I was, expected something in return or something like that.
Yeah.
It stemmed from the standpoint of I felt like I wasn't being appreciated
Hmm.
for the things that, I was doing. Like, I was taking care of all of the bills and working hard and doing these things and coming home and spending time with the family and not being out there in the streets. And so, you know, I, I kind of felt like I was in a relationship where I wasn't with somebody who actually loved me or cared for me. And so as the years went on, because we were married for almost 11 years, as the years went on, the during the arguments it became about, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and you don't even appreciate anything. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it wasn't like, uh the intention wasn't to keep scores like that or keep tabs, but it just got to a point to where that was what ended up happening.
Mm. Yeah. Side note, people, ladies, it's hard not being out in these streets as a man. So if you got a man who who desire to be at home, it's easy to get out there. It's hard not to be out there.
I think
So
it I think it's I think it's easier now than it was, you know, 10, 15 years ago.
yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah. Easier now. It easier
yeah,
now.
it's easier. And what I mean by now is I mean not because I'm 44 years old, it's just because of social media
Yeah.
and the barrage of all of these different takes on relationships and dating and situationships and you know women feel a certain way about men and men feel a certain way about women, and you're hearing and seeing and experiencing all of these different things that a perfect example, DoorDash girl. A dude was in his house chilling. Who knows why his pants were down? Who cares? He's in his house. And she cracked the door open, filmed him, and then claimed SA. And so when you think about that from a broader spectrum, there's been cases that we've heard about or seen on the news or seen on social media where a guy is been with a girl or out experiencing life and whatever, or if you're in the gym and somebody's bringing right got their little camera in there, they filming, and all you doing is walking by and they making a scene like you attacking them or something. And these are happening on very micro scales.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and because I have my own personal experience with false accusations that were proven to be false. Yeah, yeah. This was 18. This was I had been in the military for 18 years and got accused of sexual harassment. Now they came in, did their investigation, and it was proven to be false. But all I was doing was having a conversation with somebody that I had already been friends with for a while. We were having normal conversations that we were having, and the accusation was made, and it wasn't necessary. It wasn't made by her. It was made by somebody else who were simply felt uncomfortable about our conversation, which our conversation wasn't anything. It wasn't even anything sexual.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I lost a friend because you know why? She put she didn't how do I want to say this?
She didn't clarify.
She didn't disprove the the
Accusation.
the accusation because she was afraid that she was going to lose her job because it was her boss that made the claim. And it wasn't her boss talked to her boss just did it. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like she didn't it stemmed from a joke, right? It was a joke and it wasn't even like a sexual joke. But just that experience alone, it's like it's a it's a micro issue, but all of these things have guys like
Hands off. Yeah.
I you know what? It's just better for me to rock out by myself, and I ain't even trying to go down that road. That's why the male loneliness epidemic is what it is. That's why, a lot of guys now, guys in between the ages of 18 to 33, they're 30, yeah, 33, like they're either virgins or alone. Like, and it's like it's creeping up to 40%.
Hey, that T app experience when people started, you know what I'm saying, going through and they started realizing you'll have a conversation, you'll have 30 or 40 women talking about one man. Then you have another 25, the other 30. So that app showed alone that y'all are messing with the same guys. The women are actually messing with the same guys. But they, in return, voice it out that they use the all men. No, it's all the men you deal with. And this T app shows that a lot of women messed with the same guy, same type of guy.
Yeah, but that and what that does is that leaves the average guys. The average guys are looking at it like, bro, I want no part of that
No part of that.
because I kind of like my life, right? And it's just
Oh,
easier. It's just easier to deal with, to be by yourself. And so, you know, going back to what we were originally talking about, that safe space, it's even harder to find that
it's
into.
it don't exist really. Now you do have it because some women that you know what I'm saying that are ladies understand it. They understand that when a man when a man knows that his decision hurts the woman that he loves at that moment, the woman gains total power in the dynamic of their relationship because he knows now that I never want to make my woman feel that again. So, in hindsight, what happens is she becomes the thought process about everything that he's going to think about and make a decision. Hey, okay, my baby, I don't want her to feel like that again. So what is this going to happen? Baby, he's going to come to it. Baby, what do you think about this? Yeah, baby, okay, well, I was thinking this way, blah, blah, blah. It's that power that she didn't have to neck roll. She didn't have to get loud. She didn't have to get out of character. All she had to do was show him that hurt her. And from that point on, the dynamic in their relationship changes.
Mm-hmm.
Because a man is going to do what he feels like in the best interest of the woman that he loves and cares for. You're going to go out there, you're going to work, you're going to provide a nice place, nice home. You're going to make sure she's taken care of. And that woman in her femininity never had to raise her voice. I know this woman. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna mention her name. But in the interaction that I've see with her and her man, she never raises her voice. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes he's kind of a hothead. He's kind of a hothead, but she never raises her voice. And she lets him get to that level of hotness. And then she's almost like the Beauty and the Beast. She comes and, okay, so what are we gonna do now? And that's her whole tone. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? And from that point on, it's she's running the show.
Yeah, and I think that that's another misconception, right? Is that when a guy is now, I ain't talking about abusive guys, right?
Yeah.
When a guy is upset and he's upset about something and he's expressing his thoughts or his feelings about something, and then you can likely see it progress right to where he's upset or he raises his tone of voice or his he starts maybe yelling. Oftentimes what I've found is that they're speaking from a place of hurt or
Mm-hmm.
pain or disrespect. They're feeling disrespected and they're expressing their passion about whatever it is that they're talking about. And so oftentimes women see that as they don't they don't care, but in reality it's when he's silent.
Yes.
It's when he's silent that
He doesn't
that
care.
he doesn't care. Like if a man is coming to you and he's expressing his thoughts or his feelings about something, and he's either coming from a standpoint of hurt or pain or feeling disrespected, you should be honored that he is wanting to communicate with you and be receptive to the things that he's saying. Because when you start to shut him down or shut him out or match the energy that he has, a good man will then shut down and be like, you know what,
You got it.
you got it, I'm good.
I'm good. Hey, ladies, when a man say I'm good, he's done. Dead man walking. Dead
Yeah,
man walking. When the man says, you got it. You right. I'm good. We good. We good. It's that's him finally saying, you know what? I really don't want to deal with this anymore. And and that's the sad thing about it, because you hear all these topics and conversations on these little platforms and everything, and they sit there and they say a man will sit in misery because he love, and a woman will just get out because of how she feels. Yeah, sometimes that is true. A man will sit in misery. But once that misery is hitting too long and he's realized and he gives you that, you know what, you right, I'm good. Yeah, we good. Because those are literally my words. You know what? You right. You're totally right. My bad. And from that point on, I checked out.
It's like I can come back around, but for this particular issue, I eat it and then you just lose that part.
Yeah, you lose it.
Yeah, you lose that part, right? And it's like, okay, so we just not gonna have if this particular situation comes up again, we just not gonna talk about it. You gonna and I'm just gonna sit quiet, sit in silence or whatever, not address it, and you're gonna be sitting there wondering what's wrong. Well, I'm good.
I'm good.
And so I think that's that's the part that oftentimes gets misconstrued is because it's like if you're having those situations where the guy is like you can visually see that something is bothering him or something is wrong and he just like and he's usually a communicative type of person or an expressive type of person, he's just like he's shut down. And so that's a for the longevity of your relationship, that's a dangerous place to be in because you know it could be that he just like it could be that he doesn't want to be bothered, or it could be to the extreme of he's plotting his exit. But oftentimes guys are very hesitant to leave um relationships like that, but you can push them out the door.
Yeah.
Not physically, but when if he gets if he gets pushed out the door, he could still be there in the house, but
Yes.
he may be moving silently in the streets.
In the streets.
And
I take that as a lot of men because we understand the dynamics of things. And I was talking to my homegirl and I was telling her some things and I was like, I said, a lot of y'all women have this cheating thing kind of crazy. And you say that women are great cheaters. You're not. Women are not great cheaters. What is I know you've been watching the Sharon Moore thing from up in
the
Michigan.
Michigan,
Yeah.
I have caught bits and pieces of it, but I don't know
Okay.
the full details.
Well, I'm put a pin in my little thing. Well, the gist of that is, you know what I'm saying, he got a wife, had a little mistress on the side, she got pregnant, had an abortion, and everything. Now, this been going on for 2 to 3 years. She got upset and went and told the people about their relationship because somebody told him you either, you know what I'm saying, to brush this under the thing, you either move her away or fire her. He fired her so she can be away from the team. She didn't like being fired. All right. Now, coming back to my situation. my statement. Men allow you to believe that you're good cheaters due to the fact sometimes those men who partake in it, they do not want a relationship. They don't want that time with you to talk, communicate, and everything. So they are okay having the fun with you. So they don't say nothing. I'll let him deal with the pressures, the finances, and I'm going to have the fun you. So
Wait,
I'm not
you
going to say a word.
so you talking about are you talking about the side dudes?
Yeah,
Okay, because I was not tracking. I would thought you
yeah,
were talking
yeah.
about I thought you
So
were talking about the guy in the relationship.
yeah, women think that they're better cheaters than men. No, you're not better cheaters than men. The men that you're cheating with allow you to think that because they're not going to say nothing. Because women are sloppy with their cheating. Truth be told, they are.
Well, I
Hold on, I'm gonna give you the receipts.
okay,
I'm gonna give you the receipts for
because I might have to disagree with you, but keep going.
Okay, okay. Oh, I see the look on your face. For a certain amount of time, yes, a woman can get away with it. I say, but at some point, especially if she started to like the guy that she's cheating with, things are gonna change, and she's gonna get real sloppy. I.e., the biggest thing. Second, the way, especially if she has an attentive man. Now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, she wears these kind of bra and panties, but on every Thursday when she put on this kind of, okay, hold on, why you put the lace ones on every Thursday? Okay. The tone and the giggles when that text message rings. Oh yeah. Now this is you got an attentive man. This is an
Okay,
attentive man.
okay. So let me jump in here real fast. I no, I understand where you're going with it now. Okay, so because I would probably you're right. Just so that let's get that out there, right? You're right.
Yeah.
But a little bit more context is that women think that they're better cheaters only because a large portion of men aren't paying attention. They
I
aren't
was
paying
looking. That was
attention.
gonna be my next part.
Yeah, they aren't paying attention to them because the assumption is that I got a good one. So she'll never do that. And so there is a false belief that and this also leads to guys getting themselves into trouble because they get smacked over the head when their girl does, leave them for somebody else, or
Yeah.
they do end up getting divorced clearly out of nowhere or something like that because they weren't necessarily paying attention to the signs and the cues of things that were happening. Because in reality, you're right. Women are equally as sloppy and cheating as men are.
Mhm.
The only advantage that they have is that oftentimes the person that they're cheating with, they already know that they're in an established relationship. Because oftentimes a woman doesn't go approach a man approaches a woman, and she oftentimes like if she's somewhat halfway decent, she's like, I got a man. And he keeps, applying pressure. And so you're right. He does oftentimes if they do cross that line with them, that dude is not gonna say anything. Whereas on the flip side, if you go cheat with a woman, you run the high risk that unless she has something equal of value to lose on her part, that if
He's
she
gonna want
catches
that number one spot.
yeah, if she catches any semblance of feelings or a belief that she could have a relationship with you, then you run the risk of her diming you out and you getting caught up.
Yep.
Okay, so is that am I on track
Yeah,
there?
you're on it. You're on it. And
Okay.
and that tends to happen with the men. They start out, yeah, I'm cool. But you know what I'm saying? You as the man, what you doing? Hey, boom, you doing the trip, making it feel nice, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? You doing what you doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man, I'm spending a little money, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this. So those feelings get to being like, I can see having this for the rest of my life. Then it's, do you really like me? Do you really care for me? Yeah. Then it turns in, well, I'm starting to have feelings for I love you and it was an episode of The Shy when it first came on, and Tia Mowry's husband, Corey Hardrick, and he was talking to a little girl, and she said, "Well, I'm thinking about leaving. I'm thinking about leaving Kevin for you." He said, "Don't you do that? That's a good man." And he said, "She's what you mean?" He's what we he said. What do we have? He said, "I'm just your other nigga. I come around. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We do our little things. You tell me little stories. I make you feel good. But that's right there is a good man. Don't go do no stupid stuff like that." And in his life, the guy that she started to have feelings for, and the killer part about it, she even after him saying that she didn't walk away from him. So that in turn show you that if a woman truly likes you, if she truly likes you, she's going to do whatever it is to be around. So she didn't, you know what I'm saying? I know it's a fictional story, but that story happens. That situation happens. And so for men, and this is another reason why men sits in that misery state, because at the end of the day, we understand that growing up hearing stories from my uncles and older gentlemen in our life, that no matter what, sometimes no matter what you do, if you do not make a woman feel a certain way, you're going to have problems. That's why they coined the saying, happy wife, happy life. And and when that man gets to that point where he's like, yeah, okay, he's done with the happy wife, happy life kind of thing, and he's cool with whatever happens at that point in time. He's cool with if this breaking away. He's cool with divorce. He's cool with not needing this person to go forward with anymore. Because that's when he started thinking about self. I deserve. Now, unlike women, we don't just go in and just crash and burn and tear this thing up and boom, let the pieces fall. Sometimes we try to strategically maneuver this, and that's why it looks like it lasts so long for us to remove ourselves from a relationship. One, because we're thinking about the financial aspects of it, how I was going to do that, how I'm going to prepare myself for finances, what I'm going to do, blah blah blah. And two, if there's kids involved, you have to maneuver the fact that okay, now I have to try to keep myself in a position to where I have access to my kids.
Well, I'm glad you actually brought up the kids because that's a perfect segue into the third misconception that I found. Um, the third misconception is, and I know you could speak to this being, because I know you raised your daughter, right? And me, I didn't necessarily raise my children, but there were times where, like over the summer, I had my kids, and right, and that was 10 years ago. So my kids were that started 10 years ago. Well, no, not 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So
Well,
that
yeah.
would mean that my daughter was 6 and my son was 3.
Hmm.
The third misconception is that men aren't natural caregivers. Um, and then there's a little side note that says care is learned like any skill. And so talk a little bit about your experience, because you raised your daughter you had full custody, right? Or primary custody, right?
Primary, yeah.
Yeah. So talk to your experience of raising your daughter and kind of lay out at what point, at what age did you start?
Well, she was in the we got I got the divorce when she was in the sixth grade. So sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, and then from that point it was I kind of was like it became a on and off with her mother and I. You get her, I get her. You get her, I get her. Um, um, from a standpoint of a father raising a young lady, it was a lot of things I had to learn. I had to learn how to do hair. Uh, I had to learn how to communicate in a tone because uh, I always told her I never wanted her lifestyle, her anything to deal with her to make her feel that she was something that what me and her mom was going through, she had anything to do with. Um, the one mistake that I did do, uh, I introduced her to a young lady that I thought was going to be someone we was going to be long term, and my daughter got kind of attached to her, and that didn't last long. So from a learning standpoint, I learned if I was to ever do that again, never introduce your children until you know, until basically you about 3 or 4 months down the line of maybe even thinking about marriage and proposing and walking down the aisle. But with me, I raised her in stages. Um, Up until about 14, I was I was that firm, strict dad. This is what it's going to be. This is how we're going to do this. No ifs, ands, or buts, maybe. But it was done with compassion. What I'm saying. I listened to her. I wasn't a total authoritarian, but you already know the parameters. So let's work within these parameters. All right. 14, we had a discussion about okay, now we can start softening our relationship. You know what I'm saying, because you're becoming a young lady, you can have you can have more say so than you normally do. All right. 14 to 16, sweet 16, we can move our relationship moved into more of a I call myself big homie. Um, but I'm dad, and we're gonna move into that. Then after she graduated, now you're a young lady. You navigate your situation. Um, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be 100% behind everything you do, but that don't mean I don't love and support you. So I tried to go in stages with her in patterns that I wish my mom, you know what I'm saying, and dad would have went with me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to, yes, you know what I'm saying, go this little, because when anytime I got upset with that little girl, it hurt me. I think I put hand to ass maybe 6 times in the whole life, because I didn't feel that I need to. Plus, she was a very very good young lady. Didn't have Never had any problems really too much. Only problem that I probably ever had out of her, you know what I'm saying, as she got older, the little attitude started to switch up. You started getting a little attitude, but we kind of corrected that a little bit. And because she was a carbon copy of me, and me knowing that when she stopped talking, I knew that it was probably a problem. So okay, let's go in here and let's see what we need to do to communicate. So
Yeah.
that's how my raising with her. But yeah, you yeah, men, we could do it. That don't mean that we don't have nurturing. Men, we have very much nurturing, but our nurturing is a little different.
Yeah, no. So, like I said, me and my ex-wife were separated before we actually got divorced. And we got separated when the kids were, like I said, my daughter was 6 and my son was 3. I was overseas, and so we from the time we got separated, it there was never us living close to each other, so there was never like that off and on time where
Mhm.
I got her 3 days I got the kids 3 days out of the week, and you got them 4, and then vice switch it the following week or whatever.
Yeah.
Which that was actually in our divorce decree, that if I lived like within 20 miles of their home location, then we could set it up that way. Um, because I was still in the military up until like 2 years ago. Raising, I believe, right, that I was set up to be able to raise kids by myself. If I'm being honest, when me and my ex-wife got divorced, not and I want you to hear this, like, she was not a bad mother, right? I would never ever ever say that she was a bad mother. What I will say is that from a knowledge and skill set standpoint, I
Yeah.
was probably a better father than she was a mother, right?
Yeah.
Because I had all of the skill set that a mother would have. Maybe not so much as the the compassion standpoint, right? Like that you know how moms are, right? They're easily manipulated by their kids, right? Because they're
Yeah.
super compassionate. They want to love on their kids and stuff like that, right? That kind of stuff didn't necessarily fly with me, right? But I had all the necessary skill set. I could change diapers. I could do all of those things. I cook, clean, blah, 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 XYZ, right? Where I had an advantage where that she didn't have an advantage was on disciplinarian side, right?
Hmm.
She refused for the most part to discipline the kids. And so the dynamics when they were with us were very different, right? If anytime she had to discipline them, it was always, I'm gonna call your dad. Or she did call dad, right? And I had to discipline them through the phone, and I made it clear to them that I will get on a plane and come wear your ass out if you don't get it together. And they knew that dad was serious about that, right? Granted, I never had to do it, but they knew that dad was serious about that. And so that
You never had to
discipline,
pull up. You never had to pull up.
I never had to pull up because I had set a foundation early on that I didn't play that, right? And they
Right.
knew that.
Well, when she went with the first time of her going to stay with her mom, my daughter, you know what I'm saying? And I got this foundation, but I just had to get that. yeah, my dad gonna pull up. And so it was about an outfit. And her mom called me and said she bought this little with the money you sent, and she went and bought these little very, very clad outfit. And I'm like, Carl, what are you doing? And da, 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 da. So she was acting all nonchalant about it because she thought, okay, yeah, he not really gonna pull up. I said, okay. I say, don't tell her. I'll be there first thing in the morning. Don't tell her. I caught that late flight from Dallas to DC. I got there first thing in the morning, and I was right when she opened her eyes, I was right there in her face. Dad, I was like, yeah. Now, what? No, Dad, I didn't mean to. No, 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 no. I want that same attitude you gave over the phone. Yeah, we didn't have that problem no more.
Nah, see, I never had to do that. Um, and as my kids got older, they were they are they've always been extremely well behaved, right? I
Yeah,
would take my kids to the store and I would, you would hear people like, "Oh my God, your kids are so well behaved. They're just quiet. They're not trying to run through the store." And I was like, "Listen, they know. We established this. Like it's BTA if you get out of line." But they
and
never
you had that look.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you have the look
Dude, hey,
control?
listen, dude. Listen. My look, right? It's a death stare. Like it is like they see that look and it immediately stop what you're doing. Let me get correct.
Correct this shit. Yeah.
And now, granted my daughter's 18, right? But she's still at home. My son is 15. Now we're having conversations, right? It's
Conversations.
it's about educating, right? Like, cause I'm not trying to put hands to you like that unless you want to go out in the back and scrap, we could do that. But I with my son in particularly, it's like, okay, why did you do that? Explain
Yep.
to me why you did that. What did you think the outcome was going to be? Did you get that outcome?
Yep.
Okay, so you didn't get the outcome that you was looking for. What do you think the outcome is if you do what I told you to do?
Teaching them to use logic and thinking process.
Yeah, and so go do what I ask you to do or what I'm telling you to do the way that I told you to do it. And then come back and tell me what's the difference. Right? It's having those conversations. But I've done that from the time they were 6 and 3. And so now I have one adult who is very well behaved and a 15-year-old who's on his way to becoming an adult who also, by the way, is operating within his passion at 15 years old. His focus is on his passion, which he loves exotic cars. And so if you go on his Facebook or on his Instagram, you see he's out there taking professional photos of exotic cars. He's out there networking with people who got money, like, and I encourage all of it because that's his passion, and he's getting himself in the circles that I can't necessarily do it because I'm not at that level. And so
Yep.
that that started when he was, I think, 9. He came here to San Antonio, and I knew he loved cars because he was like all in the Mr. Lightning McQueen and all that other stuff growing up, right? He watched that damn movie on repeat. I damn near know
Repeat, baby.
I damn near know every word to that movie because he watched it so much. Like what's Cars 1, Cars 2, Cars 3? And you know what the funny thing is, to this day he's still watching that damn movie. But I knew he had a love for cars. So what I did was, for his birthday, I took him to the Ferrari dealership, right? Just so that he could see it, feel it, touch it, boom, boom, boom. They put him in a Lamborghini and drove him
Lost his
around the
mind.
parking lot, hooked from then. And so, I think I would never say that one parent is more important than the other, because they're equally important. They have very different roles. They bring very different things um to raising children. But the misconception that men aren't don't have the ability to be caregivers is disproven by you and I having our conversation and sharing our experiences about what we've done and how our children have panned out
Yeah.
when we're the ones who played a pivotal role in raising them growing up.
Yeah.
So
True indeed.
yeah, so that was a couple of misconceptions that I wanted to talk about today. I got a bunch more, but I know we've been going for about an hour and a half now. So Big G, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, indeed. You know what I'm saying? Why is it smart 22? It's your guy. Why is it smart 22? You know what I'm saying? My little part-time job has been kicking my butt. You know what I'm saying? I'm also your friendly neighborhood basketball and youth basketball referee. So I've been rolling. I'm Jamaican around here, 3 jobs. So I'm my Wednesdayisms has been on the back burner because I've been moving and shaking. But I'm probably gonna put him on a hold to the first of the year when I get back to my normal schedule time. I might drop a dime or two in there, uh, in there between. But yeah, December I only got one in, and so it's just might just hold out. But why is it 22 on Instagram? That's where I'm always at. Uh, I think I've got 22 requests in my thing. I got to go through and vet. You know what I'm saying? I got to vet them due to the fact that I be commenting some wild and strange things. People be trying to add you as a friend and come do some investigating on you. Now we got so I don't just add anybody, baby.
Yeah, so that's Wise and Smart 22 on Instagram. Make sure that if you guys go out there and link up with Big G on Instagram, that you do drop him a DM, letting him know where you found him so that
Yeah.
he could add you. And would you say the new year you're gonna be going back to dropping your Wednesdayisms?
New Year, we're going back and dropping the Wednesdayism. Yeah, I got a lot on my plate. You know what I'm saying? I'm hosting a few Christmas party because you know what I'm saying, I'm the life of the party. So I got a few Christmas parties I gotta host and be the man. So December is a little tight month for me. So yeah, started the new year, we back on our Wednesdayisms.
All right. So for me, you guys can find my information down below in the description. Uh, you can also find my book, Align Love, The Modern Guide to Finding and Building Fulfilling Relationships. The link to that is also in the description. I'm working on a new version of the book, the Christian version.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's gonna have some Bible verses that cover the topics that are originated from the original book. I'm working with my mom on
okay. I was just gonna ask you, working with
who's the
mom on
past.
that one.
Yeah, I'm working with my mom on that one. And make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications, so that when we drop new videos, you get notified. And because I see Big G holding up the pinky, make sure that you share so
There we
that
go. There we go.
we can get this information out there and get it in the hands of people who may need this information to help them get to the next level or validate some things that they've been thinking about or experiences in their life. With that being said, I am Juanito, aka Coach Rob. That's Big G. Until next time, y'all be safe.
Be safe, people.